Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends podcast. The podcast is designed to help you feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. Now, before I introduce my amazing guest, I want to remind everyone that I'm running a competition where you can win a 45-minute one-on-one Zoom session with me to discuss your business. Might want to talk about marketing. It could be you need some help with your team or just career advice in general. Or you might want to talk about my favorite food, hamburgers. The topic of discussion is yours to choose from. Now, to go into the draw, all you need to do is leave me a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And at the end of each episode, I will draw a random winner. So if you want to know who the winner is at the end of this episode, you need to stay tuned to the end, or you can fast forward and just go to the end, but don't do that. Hang around and have a listen to my amazing guest, who is Jay Harris. And he is the owner of Space Invaders. Now, anyone that grew up in my era straight away is thinking, they're thinking of that game, but no, it's built to inspire. And we'll talk what that's all about. He also has a coaching business called The Inspired Man because he is a lifestyle entrepreneur. So, Jay, how are you doing today?
I'm well, Tyson. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate
it. It's good having you here. We met just when the pandemic kicked off last year. Virtually. Yeah. We've never met physically. Only virtually we met.
This is true. Yeah. We were both in lockdown, I guess. The whole country was in lockdown in Australia, and our businesses were changed forever.
just a little bit. And I think, we both ended up doing an online course together about creating online courses, which is how my course, the 12-week Podiatry Business Reboot, came about, was because of doing that particular course. And the reason I did it was because I didn't like online courses. and I wanted to prove why I didn't like them. So I thought I'd do one. And I ended up enjoying it. And I met a few people on there who were pretty cool as well.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. It went for about 6 weeks or so. And we learned how to,
It was 1 month. It was 12 sessions, 3 sessions a week for 4 weeks. It was it was really full on.
It was intense. It was an intense online workshop.
Extremely intense.
But we got there in the end.
Well, we did. And part of the thing was forcing us to actually take the next step. And it was like when I wrote my book, I did it with a group of people. Not that they sat there and wrote the book with me, but we all had to do a certain amount by a certain time. And when we finally got to the end, out of the 4 of us, 2 got their books published and 2 didn't. And it was the ones that we just kept pushing ourselves to do it, got the results. So you ended up doing an online course. What was the course that you ended up creating?
Mine was called the Inspired Life Masterclass. So helping people really get clear on their unique core values as an individual and connect that with an inspiring mission for their career or their business.
So, and that's predominantly, so I just want to point out to people, you have 2 professions that you do. One, Space Invaders, which is a building company.
Yeah, we do interior fit outs, so offices and shops and clinics and stuff.
And then you're a lifestyle entrepreneur, like business coach. Now, a lot of people would assume, how does a builder become a business coach or a lifestyle entrepreneur? But it's actually flipped around, which I thought was really cool. You were a lifestyle entrepreneur first, and then you followed your passion that you wanted to build things.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going through a quarter life crisis, right, in my late sort of 20s.
I did that too. I had my midlife I thought I'd have it early to get it over and done with so I could get on with the rest of my life.
Yeah. So I'm glad I went through a quarter life instead of midlife. That's good.
Yeah.
I was actually a mortgage broker in my 20s. And it was around the kind of global financial crisis time, which is kind of interesting because now we're kind of going through this pandemic and there's big shifts going on. But it just was not enjoying it at all, and was doing some soul searching, and did a bunch of personal development work. And one of the biggest things that came up was I want to be out and about, out of the office. Out and about, using my hands, getting dirty and building things. And that's what kind of set me on my journey to study building and construction and get my carpentry license and get into construction and fit outs and that sort of thing.
So, and we'll talk about that side of your business. So you're based in, whereabouts are you? I know you're in New South Wales and you're north of Sydney.
Just north of Sydney, hour and a half north of Sydney, in a little coastal town called Avoca Beach.
And so you go surfing every day, don't you?
Pretty much, yeah. For anybody listening and not watching the video, there's pictures of surfing and there's surfboards in my office. And
I know, I can see that. So have you ever seen any sharks out there? That's why I stopped surfing, was because of sharks.
I'm sure they're out there, though. I just try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, when I was 18, I think there was this part of this area between Surfers Paradise and Broadbeach called Death Alley, and I was in there. And and all of a sudden, I'm stuck in this rip and I'm paddling away and I just couldn't get in for the life of me. And all of a sudden, this shark has gone bang straight up underneath my board, knocked me flying. Knocked me off the board. Oh, and man. All I can remember doing, I don't know why, I reached down, I flicked my leg rope off, and I just put my head down. If they were doing Olympic trials that day, I would have been, I carved through that rip like there was no tomorrow. And I just kept paddling. Even when I hit the sand, I was just dragging my body up on the beach. I've never been so petrified in my life.
Like an Iron Man.
Oh my God, it was terrible. So that was the second time it happened. The first time I was just swimming and it took a bit of skin off my legs, just missed me. So I just went, yeah, I've had enough of this. It's too dangerous.
Maybe you stop swimming at Death Alley.
Yeah. So anyway, back onto you're living an hour and a half north of Sydney. And what is Space Invaders itself? So you're doing fit outs that are helping people get more space out of what they've already got?
Well, it's basically an interior fit out company. So anything, inside four walls, so to speak, we'll help our clients come up with the design or the space planning and the layout that they want. We'll help them get a quote, get a proposal to do the construction work, and we'll manage that and project manage that through the construction process all the way to handover, where we hand over the keys to a brand new space and they can move their business in.
So what are the biggest mistakes people make when they've bought, or they've decided, they may not have bought the building, they may have leased a space? Is it a mistake them sitting there with a napkin or an A4 sheet of paper and a ruler and a bit of a tape measure, trying to draw it out and thinking, I know how this is all going to work? Is that a mistake to try and do it yourself?
Well, if they've never done it before,
it could be a problem. It's like knee operation, do it myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely, I guess it would be wise to engage somebody, like me or, another interior fit out contractor to help them at that stage, just to give them some ideas and to kind of hold their hand throughout the process. For sure.
So you do the building as well?
Yeah, we'll manage all the contractors coming on site and make sure that they're building everything.
It's funny because when
the client's vision,
because my clinic's in Cairns, but when we set a clinic up in Mackay, which was 800 kilometres away, when we set up there, we went and saw shop fitters and got the designs done and got that all fitted out properly, and it was great because it was a really small space. Yet what we were able to do in that small space, because it was designed so well, was something that normally I would have expected I needed 50% more room. When I set up another clinic in Smithfield, which is just north of Cairns, I actually flew. I did all the plans with the same people in Mackay, and those builders and all that drove up to Cairns and actually did the fit out because I was so happy with them.
Yeah, right.
They charged me for it too. But
yep.
But it was the same thing. Tight space in a shopping center. I needed to try and get 3 rooms out of somewhere where you probably shouldn't have been able to, but they managed to make it work.
Yeah, and I think when you're using the same builder again, there's a bit of peace of mind there as well.
Yeah,
you know what you're getting. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and Yeah, we hardly do anything on Google AdWords, hardly do any marketing, and majority of the business comes through word of mouth and referrals. So we must be doing something right, which is good.
Yeah. So locally, people would easily be able to come and see you. Like if there's any podiatrists listening to this, that are in the Sydney
Yeah,
sort of
Greater,
region.
Greater Sydney and the Central Coast. Yeah.
But if there was somebody outside of, like out of your area, they're not going to come and visit you. Are
Mm.
they able to connect with you and sort of go, hey, this is what my business looks like. This is the size of the place that I'm going to lease. This is what I want to do. Can you help them design something and then they take that to someone to get it fitted out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, more than happy to help. We do a free 30-minute consultation. So anyone around the country can more than welcome to connect with me through our website or via email. So yeah,
Okay, that's good. So
definitely for listeners of Podiatry Legends podcast here in Australia, I'd be happy to do that.
So what are some of when it comes to fitting out a shop, are there any like classic mistakes people make or assumptions that they make that they probably shouldn't?
Well, there's usually three big things, and it's time, quality, and money in any kind of construction project. And so if if you want to, and if you really want to get the best out of the space that you've got, you got to invest initially up front the time in design and doing the space planning and making sure that you're getting everything that you want
Yeah.
in space. That's one massive part, and then it needs to get out of the business owner's head, and it needs to get into black and white. It needs to get onto paper, into plans, designed on proper floor plans, so that they can be read and interpreted by a building contractor who can actually price all the work to build it for them. So,
do you think some people, they underestimate how much something's going to cost?
that's probably 50 to 60 to maybe 70% of the time.
I was always told whatever you think it's going to cost, and then you get the quote, then add another 20% because by the time you make changes and all that. So if someone was coming to see you, or even if they're going to connect with you, say, send you an email. Oh, what's your contact details for someone to reach out to you? I may as well ask now.
thespaceinvaders.com.au.
Oh, that's nice. The Space Invaders.
The
Space Invaders.
Space, SPACE, invaders, invaders.com.au.
I should have planned ahead and put a Space Invaders sound thing on my recorder here, so I could have just pressed it. It would go.
Links up in the Apple and Spotify.
Do it afterwards. So if somebody was contacting you and they said, okay, I want to engage you just to get some guidance, is it helpful if they take a lot of photos of things they like that they've seen in other businesses to give you some idea? Because I think most people, some of them have a vision in their head, but it's hard to describe.
Totally. So it can either be photos of what they like. It can be images from, businesses they've seen online on Google. Save images from searches they've done, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere, but collect all of those images, and they can be used when you work with the designer to create a mood board. So, we'll get clients come to us and they'll tell us what they want, and then we'll connect them with a designer, an interior designer, who can actually create a mood board from their brief, or from what they, I guess you call their wish list, that can then be used to incorporate it into the design of the space.
So is the mood board introducing colors and textures of materials as well?
Yep. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So there's at the initial design stage, when we find a local design company to help with this, that's really about getting the company there, if they've got existing branding as well, colors of logos and that kind of thing, or colors that they want to have throughout the space. So it can be colors, furniture that they like the look of, even things like artwork and furniture styles and lighting and all that kind of things. flooring.
Do you ever say no to somebody? Like they'll go, oh, here's my logo and this is what we sort of want to do. And you look and just go, can I be perfectly honest with you? That is going to look like crap. Do you ever tell them that? Or do you go, if that's what you want, then that's what we'll do?
Yeah, look, mate, I try not to be rude, but
Oh, yeah, no, not to be rude.
in a
That's just
way
me.
that I do really prefer doing a fit out for a client where they see the value in design, and whether it's from their own branding as a company, or they see the value of designing a really, really cool, inspiring space. Because I think what it's all about is creating spaces that draw people in.
Yeah.
People want to be there. So it's like there's not this kind of, oh, I don't want to go to that really white, bright light, very clinical kind of scary place where you kind of think you're going to the dentist or something.
Yeah.
You want to make it warm and kind of homely and make it a cool and friendly space to be.
Yeah, it's funny because my original logo that I had for Pro Arch Podiatry was red, white, and blue. Yeah, they were pretty. The red and the blue were quite bold sort of colors. Had them for years and years. And when we when we bought the building and designed the whole fit out ourselves, my wife got together with the designer and they ganged up on me. And they said, these are the colors we're going to introduce. And I'm going, where's my blue? And they go, you're not getting your blue. Your blue's gone. Your blue's outdated. It's time to move on from the blue. And I kicked and screamed for a little while. But anyway, the end result with what they came up with doing I got to keep the red, which I always like, which is in all my logos and everything I do. But then they introduced 2 shades of gray, not 50, just 2, and a white. And it looks spectacular. It was like right through the whole clinic, right through our desks, everything we did. It just looks so much better. So then my next step was I was going to rebrand the logo, was go and change the colors. And I was in the process of doing it. And then I sold the business. And then what's the funny part, the people that bought the business, what was their main color? Blue. They brought back the old blue.
Why do you think that is? Why is blue such a kind of color for podiatrists?
I don't know. I don't know if it's to me personally, I don't know if it's outdated. It was just the way that my logo was put together with the red, the blue, and the white just seemed dated. And it was really hard to incorporate that dark navy blue into a bright and cheerful clinic. So all the changes they made were right. And then all my logos, everything I did after that, then introduced the grays into the different logos that I was doing as well.
That's cool. I was at a business conference recently and I noticed they did a thing on marketing and branding, and they said blue is definitely connected to any business in the medical kind of industry. So,
yeah, but it's a hard color to make friendly. We found.
And there's 50 shades of blue, right, as well. So
yeah. So, and especially if, because our older clinic, the one that we moved from, we actually had some feature walls that were navy blue, and it really just drew the light out of the room. So we were trying to lift it up a little bit more. So the changes we made were great. So, and it's amazing. The interior designers that we used were really helpful with doing all that. They weren't very good at using a tape measure, but they were really good at at helping out with the color scheme.
Story behind that.
Yeah, there is a story behind that. It's amazing how much half a meter can make a difference to a whole design.
To do the measure up for you.
Yeah, isn't it? So measure twice, cut once.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not measure once and then let's just get into it. Yeah.
But and design everything, and
design everything around that one measurement. But that was another thing. So if somebody was listening to this now, one, they know they can reach out to you to thespaceinvaders.com.au. They can get advice from you, get some guidance. Do you have a space-saving tip? Do you have a tip that some people usually overlook and you go, make sure you do this? It's something that most people don't think about, but it's a gem.
Well, space saving for any, whether it's an office or a clinic or a shop or anything, custom joinery is an excellent investment to maximize, storage. So if you think back to your small clinic that you
Yeah.
built, I'm guessing there was a lot of storage space that was kind of cleverly incorporated into different kind of
Oh, yeah.
bed spaces of the area. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember one particular area where, because we didn't really have a big kitchen area, so what they did, they incorporated behind our reception counter, they incorporated our fridge, our coffee facilities and all that. So actually they made it look like a display behind the reception. And that was really clever. And we carried that through to a couple of clinics.
Yeah, and you can even, instead of building walls, you can build a custom joinery unit which goes from the floor all the way up to the ceiling, and that in itself not only creates a wall as a partition between spaces, but you can actually, like you say, store anything that you need, marketing materials, tea, coffee, a fridge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was what they did. They used that as a feature of part of the reception that was multi-purpose, but it's also saved us a lot of space, because the kitchen area, kitchenette area, didn't really have enough room to then go and put a fridge in there. But it fit well having it in the reception, but using it as a feature. It was crazy how they did it, but it worked really well.
Yeah, that'd be my top tip, definitely. And I know a lot of companies with big staff, like 5 or 6 staff, they're even using there's some new designs of lockers, like an old school locker.
Yeah.
There's a couple of companies making some really nice lockers now. So you can use that as a storage or as a partition in between spaces. So.
Okay. So I want to move on from that, because, like I said, there's 2 parts to the Jay Harris that we know.
Yeah.
And the other part is the lifestyle entrepreneur, the business coaching. Mm-hmm. Who are the type of people that normally will reach out to you? What's happening in their life for them to reach out to you?
I'm finding people that are usually pretty stuck or overwhelmed with something that's going on in their life, whether it's in business or it's just personally. I'm attracting a lot of people going through the quarter life crisis, which is kind of what I was going through in my late 20s.
Yeah.
And also people going through kind of midlife crisis. Maybe that's because I'm 40 and I've got the wife and kids and a couple of businesses.
But is it because people, when they're in their, say, late 20s, and I recall being in my late 20s, and I was really struggling with, had I chosen the right career? Was podiatry the right thing? Because you started at 18, got out when I was, say, 22. So you've been in there, say, 5 or 6 years, and you go, oh, is this the right trajectory? Am I going the right path? Or is now the right time to change? And you're still young enough to sort of think, I'm not old yet. So, well, you don't think you are. I look back now, you're not. You're so young when you're in your late 20s, even up to your early 30s.
Yeah.
Is that something that sort of happens to everybody?
I think so. I mean, I'm still learning as well. I still feel like I'm just getting started.
Me too.
Even though I've been, been studying personal development and, human behavior for 13, 14 years, and I've been constantly studying business development for the last 10. But I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. But I'm loving working. I'm loving surfing and hanging out with the family, and I'm loving still studying at 40.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So would you find that what you'd already known, that skill you had in the whole lifestyle space and being a life strategist and that type of thing, also helps you when you're actually helping people with their building projects, that you would have to, because the average builder probably wouldn't have all these lifestyle skills. I wouldn't think. I remember our builder, and they definitely didn't.
I definitely find myself having a lot of really deep and quite inspiring conversations about with clients, when we're doing a fit out for them, but also, if something's going on in their life, I've got this kind of sixth sense, and I seem to pick up on that. And it's quite a challenging and stressful process building. There's a lot at stake. There's timing. People want to get the fit out done as quickly as possible. There's a lot of money that's invested in it. And you want to get it right. So yeah, having the expertise in both areas, I think is definitely beneficial for clients.
So even a podiatrist listening to this, if they're thinking about, I'm thinking about redesigning my clinic, do you do redesigns as well?
Yeah, so I can do like I mentioned before, a free half an hour kind of strategy session.
Yeah.
And I don't actually do the drawing that gets sent to a freelance designer. We work with multiple designers, so depending on the client's style, I'll try and match them up with one of the designers, because a lot of the designers have different styles as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, flipping back over to what you do in the coaching side of things, and you get people coming at you from like all different areas or different types of businesses, but you said you get a lot of people that are in that quarter life crisis. So what's the process you go with them when they first approach you? Yeah, and there could be multiple reasons why they do. What's your approach on getting people through that the first couple of steps?
So yeah, I think it's, when I was going through my quarter life crisis, and you probably were when you'd sort of, been in podiatry for 10 odd years, and you're sort of wondering, have I made the right decision? I think it's really about just creating a really, so I guess a safe space to have a very kind of deep conversation, have a deep one-on-one, and have a lot of conversations with clients that I coach that probably they wouldn't open up like that to a lot of people, whether they might feel like they get ridiculed or made fun of, or they can't have that conversation with their partner. They want to make it seem like they're shit together, or they don't want to have a chat with their mates down at the pub where they're having a beer because they're talking about
feelings
about footy and
I know you picture all your friends talking about who's going to win between the Sydney Roosters and the Broncos, and next thing you go, oh guys, can we just pause for a second, talk about my feelings?
Yeah. Exactly.
And you can't, and you just, unfortunately, guys, and that's why I like that whole thing that came out recently, just saying to people, are you okay?
Yeah.
Because it's one of these things where we just assume, being male, that we're bulletproof, we're supposed to put on, that things don't affect us. And you might be having an argument with your wife, yet you have to show that you can still just get on with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But internally you may not be. So this is when people come and talk to you, and it's a safe space.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, you can talk about whatever you want, whether it's, stuff going on mentally, stuff going on with the relationship, stuff going on with the career, or business challenges. I'm sort of open to talking about all of it. And I think I just want to make it more normal, just, in the general public, just to be able to have conversations, without feeling like, I'm going to get made fun of, or, people are going to think I'm weak, or, I think less of me because I'm opening up and being a softie or whatever. I want to have a D&M,
Yeah. I think it depends where you grew up and what experience you've had in the past with that sort of things. Like if you've opened up and you've been shut down by a group of people, you'll tend to think, oh, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it. Yeah, because you always hear, oh, come on, harden up, be a man. And you sort of think, what does that mean? What does that really mean when someone says, oh, grow a set? Yeah, well, I've got a set. I've got kids. They work.
Work twice.
Yeah, 3 times. But you sort of just think it's those sayings that are constantly thrown out at people sometimes, that, especially from a guy's point of view, when somebody actually says it to you and they're saying it in a mean way, hey, you should be more of a man, don't be a sook, it can actually be quite hurtful.
Yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
No, definitely. Yeah, it definitely doesn't help.
People aren't, a lot of people aren't kind of either trained or don't really know how to deal with it, when people are struggling. So, when you do kind of find that person or those people that you do resonate with, and you do feel like it's they're the person that you can have a safe and open conversation with, definitely, especially if they're offering to have a conversation, just pick up the phone or schedule a call. And
Yeah. So that side of your business is called Inspired Man.
yeah.
So I take it do you work with women as well, or it's just blokes? No, women as well.
Yeah, we work with both. Yeah.
Okay, so the Inspired Man doesn't put women off.
Well, look, I did think that when I was kind of created that name, but I'm the Inspired Man.
Ah, yes.
I help men and women. Yeah. And
okay,
I help them to empower themselves and overcome the challenges and the blocks and the overwhelm and stress, whatever they're going through, and help them get clear on what it is that they'd love to do with their life or their career or their business or whatever it is, and just be there for them. And
so if people want to reach out to you for that side of what you do, what's the best way for them to contact you? They'd probably not go to the spaceinvaders.com.au.
They can if they want, but the website is jayharris.com.au, jayharris.com.au, or they can find me on Instagram at jayharris247.
247. That's nice and simple. And I'll put all that in the show notes anyway.
Awesome.
So before we wrap up, I want to get a tip from. Oh, you already gave us a tip on the whole Space Invaders thing, so I'm going to put that to bed.
I like the space saving one. That was good. Thanks for that, because that wasn't planned at all. That's just that is like a really good tip if you do have a tight space or you want to create more storage, custom joinery, or if you're on a budget, there's a lot of good furniture websites there now that have probably only come out in the last 3 or 4 years. But there's something about just creating the space that you love being in. So
definitely.
Get rid of that old filing cabinet or get rid of that old bookshelf or whatever, and put something nice there that when you walk into work, you go, oh, this is great. I love being here.
Even as simple as repainting wallpaper. Yeah, wallpaper's made a comeback.
It has.
That we did our staff room area up, and we ended up theming the whole staff room as Margaritaville. So we got wallpaper put up, and that was a real big beach scene. And instead of the kitchen table, we got a park bench. Put in there. And we had a couple of bean bags lying around, and we had just different pictures. And I had a clock that I actually got from Margaritaville in Las Vegas. Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, had that up on the wall. And we just started doing the whole thing. So when you were in there, and the rules were when you were in that space, no one was allowed to talk about work.
Cool.
There was, when you were in there, if somebody, if you didn't want to be bugged, you went and stayed in that room and didn't come out.
That's an awesome rule. I like that.
So that was a lot of fun. So on the other side of what you do, what's a final tip that you would give to everyone from the Inspired Man?
I think for me, what's helped most in my life is writing down what it is that you'd love to do in all the different areas, of life, whether it's career and business or financially or with family or a social impact that you want to do, is get it out of your head and write down what you'd love to do. I mean, I've been journaling probably since I was about 23, 24. I've got, honestly, mate, like all these journals for everyone that can see on the videos. Well, probably half my journals, and
that, because they're sort of almost like my brain books.
Yeah, they're my brain book too.
Where I have my brain books, where I've been doing it since 14th of April 2000.
Yeah.
Had a brain book where just what's in my head comes out.
Exactly. And I've moved out of Sydney up to this beautiful coastal town of Avoca Beach 2 years ago. But in 2014, so 6-7 years ago, I wrote down, I'd love to live in a coastal town with beautiful ocean views of the beach with my family and my kids, and I want to surf every day. And I wrote that down 7 years ago, and 2 years ago it came true.
Yeah.
And so I tell everyone that story, and then, mate, there's from these 8 or 9 journals here, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that has kind of, manifested, or my intentions have come true from just from writing stuff down. So free tip of the day.
That is a final way to actually wrap up. And I know this episode is going to be confusing for people. We spoke about the Space Invaders, about fit out, but then we're also talking about the inspired man. So I've got to come up with a nifty title on this one to make people realize it's not just about saving space or building, and it's not just about inspiration. The inspired builder. Oh, that could work.
Yes.
The inspired builder.
You'll brainstorm on that. The inspired, yeah.
See, people watching the video. See, I can edit this out from the podcast, all us thinking, or I might leave it in. You never know.
Either or.
But I did like that. The inspired builder. Oh, and originally I was just going to call it Space Invaders.
Inspired to be great?
No.
Inspired? Yeah.
So people watching the video now going, come on, guys, what did you come up with?
Build the life you love, build the something. Yeah.
I'll come up with something. Usually what happens is I listen back to the actual podcast. And because when I listen to it, I'm editing it and I'm taking notes down. And usually something just jumps out at me. And when it jumps out, you go, yes, that is what the show should be. Because I know if I just called this Space Invaders, which is still a pretty cool title, because people go, what's that about? But yeah. So anyway, Jay.
Time and space.
Time and space.
Great.
We'll figure it out.
You're great. It kind of rolls off the tongue, but it's kind of confusing, but it might attract people to become interested in, what's that about? That's cool. I
like that. That's what it's going to be. Time and space.
With the inspired man.
Time and space with the inspired man.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I might have to change my intro a little bit. I have to go back and redo it myself.
That's all right. Mate, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
No, it's been fun. It's been fun catching up since we haven't spoken. We haven't spoken to each other for quite a while, until last week when I said, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? And so it's been good catching up.
It feels like it was like a month ago, but it's been like over a year.
Well, that's something I tell people, that I had a friend I hadn't seen for 13 years. And so when my son turned 21, I said to him, do you want to have a party, or would you like to go to Vegas? And he said, seriously, you'll take me to Vegas? I went, yeah. Because I'd already got the nod from my wife. She said, yes, you can take me to Vegas. So, and that was funny. My brother is there at the time when I asked him, and he said, well, you can't go to Vegas without your uncle. And I looked at him and said, yeah, you're fine to come. But then he looked at his wife, and his wife looked back at him and said, if you want to go with your brother and your nephew, of course you can go. And then she leaves the room. And he goes, go and book those tickets right now. Because I'll tell you right now, when we get home, tomorrow, she'll be going, oh, don't be bloody stupid. You can't do that. Anyway, so that night I jumped online, booked 3 airfares to Vegas. And he rings me up 2 days later and he said, unbelievable. He said, something came up at Vegas. He said, yeah, no, tickets are all paid for. It's all done. And she goes, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, you're going to Vegas. She said, but why are you going to Vegas? He said, well, you told me to. He said, couldn't you see I was giving you that look that I really didn't want to go, but you put me in a corner. So anyway, we go to Vegas. So we go to Vegas, and a friend of mine who was a chiropractor here in Cairns went back to America to live. I hadn't seen him for 13 years. My brother's a dentist, so he invited his best friend who was a dentist, and there's 2 other brothers. So there's 7 of us that meet in Vegas. We were there for 5 days. We had an absolute ball. It was so much fun. But what was interesting, and the people listening to this now are going, Tyson, why are you telling us this story? I hadn't seen Brent for 13 years. We hadn't even spoken on the phone, technically. It was only we just sort of reconnected the last couple of years on Facebook. Everything we walked up, saw each other, said hello, and we just started talking away. And my son said, so how long's it been since you guys seen each other? Like a couple of months? We went, no, 13 years. He goes, yeah. How the hell could you just continue a conversation on that finished 13 years ago? And went, well, when you meet someone that you connect with and you get on with them well, you don't have to be in their face every day. You can not see each other for 1 or 2 years, and you just take off from where you left off.
Totally. Yeah, you're right, mate. We haven't spoken for 13 months, and here we jump straight on a podcast, and have a really cool discussion.
And nailed it, if I say so myself.
The listeners can be the judge of that.
Yeah, so you reckon if you see the numbers just just take a big dive, then we're miles off. So I want to appreciate everyone who has hung around right till the end of this podcast, because when I get off of this, when I finish it with Jay, I am going to announce the winner of the 45-minute one-on-one Zoom call with me. And all you need to do is leave an Apple Podcast rating and review. Just don't give me a rating. I want a review as well. So on that note, Jay, thank you very much. And I will talk again very soon.
Thank you, legend. Cheers.